All right, so obviously on this show we like to talk about marketing and advertising and things that are culturally relevant. But due to our millennial age ranges, we've brought in our resident Gen Z expert on an episode aptly titled Educating the Unks.
Let's go.
By
That's a
Gwen.
good title.
Gwen called us Unks. We've become Unks.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
How do you
That
guys
is,
feel
yeah.
about that?
I like it.
Yeah.
I embrace my unchood.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We need badges, patches.
Yeah,
Pins.
merch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got the knee pain to go ahead with it. So let's kick it off to Gwen. Gwen,
Cool.
educate the Unks, please.
Hello. Hey, Unks. First subject today, we're going to talk about Love Island USA.
All right.
USA specifically, but we'll touch on the other ones. I'm watching it right now. The world is watching it right now. Ran by NBC Universal, streaming on Peacock. And how NBC Universal turned trashy reality TV into a marketing empire. Yay.
I like
Yeah,
it.
all right.
Um,
This thing, Rich. This thing.
Oh, it's no
Yeah.
longer clicks?
Yeah, no, it's this, right?
Oh my gosh. I've
Oh.
already been educated.
Clock it.
Clock it.
Oh, it's so unk right now. It's so
Gwen is cringing.
If you do this in Compton, they may think you're part of a gang. So, all right, Gen Zers don't go to Compton and do this. Okay.
I don't even know about the first one.
Before you go any further, for us uneducated unks, what is Love Island?
It is a reality TV show, dating reality TV show that is half dating and half survival. It has a really unique format. I think as a connoisseur of reality TV myself, I think the format is really unique. So 10 islanders are put onto a private island in Fiji, randomly selected, auditioning on casting calls. 20-something individuals, 5 girls, 5 guys, it starts off with. And they're encouraged throughout the show to make connections, participate in challenges.
And these are not famous people. These
No.
are just like random people.
Random people
Okay.
from all over the world to compete for a winning prize money. What do you say? For prize money of $100,000 at the end. Final couple wins that. And they decide if they want to split it at the end or if one person wants to take it all home.
Oh snap! How do they decide that?
Basically at the end, one of them gets, they kind of raffle it off. So one of them has the final decision, the guy or the girl. And so you kind of just have to,
So they
makes sense.
become a couple while they're there,
they become a couple while they're
and
there.
then at that point you can win as a couple.
Yes, you can win as a
Or
couple
as an individual.
or as an
That's
individual.
dangerous.
That's dangerous.
There are eliminations throughout the show, and there's new people called bombshells that they'll bring in throughout the show. The show runs 6 days a week.
6 days a week?
6 days a week.
There's an episode
Nearly
practically
every day. Yeah,
Okay.
you get one day off.
That's
Okay.
wild.
It's a lot.
What day is off?
Wednesday.
Okay.
But on Wednesdays, they'll do an After Sun episode, which is basically just a recap that the host and prior people from Love Island go on to talk about what's been going on over the week.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, nearly 40 seasons an episode, which is actually smaller than what the UK is. The UK, I believe, lasts about 6 weeks, so it's like 50, 60 episodes in a season.
Wow.
So it is cause for, great marketing because you're practically spending your entire summer with these people.
Yeah.
You feel like, you know them, even though you only get an hour of the 24 hours each day. You're investing in the show. There's live fan voting, which is kind of what makes it also this survival show more than just a regular dating show like The Bachelor or
Is that how it gets decided who's eliminated and who's not?
Yes.
It's like the fan voting?
Oh wow.
there's fan voting on a bunch of different topics. Who gets paired up with who? Sometimes you can vote on that. Who gets eliminated? Who's brought in?
So like people are essentially controlling like the show.
The show. Yeah, it's not just the producers, which is cool. I think that also kind of brings in this new level of engagement. Ariana Madix is the host. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her or her
No.
work on
Who is she? What's her name again?
Ariana Madix.
Ariana.
She was on Vanderpump Rules, which is a Bravo show owned by NBC Universal also. And
I actually saw the Vanderpump lady at JSX.
Oh,
on
did
a
you
flight to
really?
Vegas, yeah.
Lisa?
Lisa Vanderpump. She had like a
Oh,
little
how
dog
cool.
in her like bag,
And you
I didn't-
frequent that restaurant
Yeah.
as well, right?
They have a restaurant.
Yeah, isn't there like a like?
Yeah,
the-
that's the
like-
whole premise.
That's the whole.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. I didn't know who she was.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all these people at JSX were like coming up and wanting to like take photos with her and whatnot. You know, and I was like, oh, okay. So
You're like,
Vanderpump.
seen her.
Yeah.
She had a controversy on the show, the last season of the show that the OG cast was on of Vanderpump Rules, where her boyfriend of 7 years cheated on her with her best friend, and the viewers knew before she did. But one big component of the relationship was that they would watch Love Island all the time. And so in an infamous breakup scene on the show, she was like, who am I going to watch Love Island with? And, you know, he screwed her over basically, and she became the host. So
Wow.
that also kind of plays into the viewership. People or fans of Vanderpump Rules are also tuning in, which is cool. So yeah, it kind of is like Big Brother if it was a trashy dating show. There's also an element called Caso Amor in the show, which is basically when you hit the halfway point, the girls and the guys are split, and most likely at this part in the show, they're already kind of coupled up and they're loyal to their partner, assuming it's been like 3 weeks. And they're being tempted by the people of Casa. So there's a fresh batch of girls and a fresh batch of guys that they're greeted with, and they have to see if they cheat or not, basically.
So how do you win? Like who is the person that wins, and like why do they? Like what makes someone win?
There's a lot of elements to a winner. I think it's not simplified to who the best couple is or who's the most in love, because there's such a heavy fan base and there's also live voting. It's also kind of a matter of who's liked. There's also some challenges that are strictly fan opinion based. So they have this one challenge called the Twitter challenge,
Okay.
where the Islanders don't have any idea of how they're being perceived on camera right now. Their phones are taken away from them. They're not allowed to contact friends, family. And so in this challenge, they are presented with tweets that are about each Islander, and their names are blurred out. And it'll be like, blank is awful. We hate her so much, and I want her off the show so bad. And they have to guess which Islander is being talked about. And usually it's quite shocking, the perception that they have of each other versus what the fans think of them, and the behind the scenes things that they see are quite different. But I also think there's now this new element of not just Love Island, but of reality TV in general, where there's an expected influencer career waiting for you at the end of the show. So throwing all of that in, it's kind of a matter of who's liked. It's a popularity contest because you could be super in love, which happened last season with Ace and Shelly, who were Islanders, that extremely in love, extremely loyal to each other pretty much throughout the entire show, but fans did not like them, did not like their personalities, and they didn't
Voted
even
them
make
off.
finals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they get voted off as a couple, or is it like the one gets voted off first,
Usually one gets voted off, so
and
it
then the
kind
other
of
one's
breaks them
just
up.
like hanging out?
Yeah, they can decide if they want to leave the show with them, if they want to keep exploring, but most likely if you've already been there for a while, you're like, what's my point of being here still?
So it's a big popularity contest if it's
Big
fan
popularity.
voting, because if you're liked, no matter what, you can stay. It doesn't matter, like you said, if they're a couple and they're in love, or you're winning challenges and etc. It's just the fans like them, they're staying. The fans don't like them, they're going.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last season's winners, Amaya and Brian, I would say were not the most popular couple. They were paired up really late in the season. He wasn't an OG, like they call them, and usually there's OGs that'll win because they're there longer and fans are able to have love for them longer. But everyone loved Amaya. She was a very endearing girl. She had ditzy quotes that went viral, and it felt like they didn't care who she was with. They just wanted Amaya to win. And so
Are there any other reality shows that are daily like that?
I don't think so. I'm actually not familiar with the format of Big Brother. I don't know if it was the same, but I would imagine.
I
that
think
would be
they had like
closest.
cameras and stuff that were like always around that you could see, but I don't think it
Yes.
was like the
Very
same level
few.
of like because to me that's like the genius of it.
Yeah.
Is the daily show.
Yep.
Because you think about like what modern celebrity is with like influencers that are posting every single day, or like Twitch streamers or YouTubers, or even like podcasts that are happening multiple times a week or every day. And those people have such loyal, insane fan bases. It's how brand partnerships happen and all that sort of stuff. Because you feel like you know them or you're inside their lives way more.
Yeah.
And so to create something in like high production, sort of like actual like NBC Universal that kind of almost encapsulates that seems brilliant to me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that seems like quite a production challenge too. So, Gwen, let me ask you. There's a lot of dating shows, right? Like a lot. Forever. Why is Love Island such a hit?
I think Love Island is such a hit because it feels more like a social experiment than anything. I think it's what Emerson said, where the format of it feels surveillance-y like Big Brother does. You feel very attached to the people, and you're spending your entire summer with these people. So anything when it comes to brand partnerships and, you know, fan bases coming out of the show, it feels more intense than any other dating show. It feels a lot more authentic because you're seeing these people, yes, 1 hour in a 24-hour day, but every day. So it really feels like you grew with them. I think it's more fun. Personally, biasly, I think the show is a lot more fun to watch than regular dating shows, just because with most reality TV, you can tell where the cuts have been made. You can tell that things are being clipped up to create entertainment throughout the show. Love Island has a lot of empty parts, but for some reason you feel intrigued to watch it because you want to grasp the whole picture of what's happening. And I think giving the audience that freedom to be able to see even the boring parts kind of makes it feel more real and then like you're there.
Interesting.
It's a little more immersive, I would say.
So it feels authentic. It feels like real life. You know, it makes me think of, I don't remember if it was Laguna Beach or The Hills or which one it was, but in the season finale, they had that whole thing where like they're walking out of a production facility, sort of like playing into the element that it's semi-scripted and not real life. And didn't watch the show, but I remember that thing happening. Versus you're saying Love Island really feels like there's a camera peeking into real life of what's happening with all these random people trying to make it to the end of this competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think also because there are other goals than just finding love. I think it's weird to say that there would be ulterior motives on a dating show, but because you were quite literally just putting these random people onto an island and seeing what they'll do, instead of it being like, oh, this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, take this very seriously, there's marriage at the end of this, like Love is Blind, I think is just more intriguing to a viewer to be like, what exactly are they going to do? Are they going to find love? Are they going to try and hook up with as many people as they can on this show? Or are they just here for clout? But
And this is probably me being cynical, but I would just imagine everyone who signs up for a show like this is there for attention more than actually finding love. Would you say that's accurate or not accurate?
yeah, I would say so. Definitely. I think you can tell with certain islanders. I think because of how big the show has gotten and that promise of brand deals at the end of the show and stardom at the end, you can kind of tell when islanders are creating their own narrative throughout the show. And some of them, I think, before this blew up, you could have argued that they're just here to find love and they're being their genuine self. But now there's so much audience critique, and even when it looks like they're doing the exact right thing in Islanders, exploring connections and talking to all these people and doing what they signed up to do, people still find a way to critique
because of the
it.
live element. There's a level of self-awareness there,
Yeah.
right? If they're showing people tweets like to these people, they know they're on camera. performing for an audience.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like there's no way. It's not like it's going to be, because a lot of these would be filmed months in advance, right? And then they show it later. Like if this is super live.
But is it filmed months in advance if they are
No,
not?
it's live. This
It's
is
live.
live.
Oh, this is live.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
But
didn't
like
mention
something
that
like
it's
like
Wow.
the
They're there right now.
Bachelor or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like The Bachelor is filmed, like that's been over for months by the time it starts
Yeah.
showing. So like,
I think most shows are like that, right? They film in advance and then
Right.
they air it.
so these
after.
people all know like they're on camera, essentially being watched right now, which
That's
is a
crazy.
different mental. So
Yeah.
like that's Gwen's social experiment thing. I think it's really fascinating because I think the idea of like bringing literally like a daily. It's like borderline like the Truman Show. Remember that movie?
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like you just were
Jim
watching
Carrey.
him like 24 hours, and that was 26 years ago, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Like how ahead of its time that was.
Yeah.
But I was talking to someone recently, and they were like, "Do you think people would actually have watched that? Because it feel and I'd be like probably because it is like that social experiment thing."
Well, it's kind of what streaming culture is, like,
Right.
right? Just like watching people do random things throughout the day. Obviously, certain people intentionally do crazy things to drive viewership, but there's a lot of people who are just like living their lives streaming.
Well, I was talking to a successful like Twitch streamer once about brand partnerships and stuff, and I was asking him about sort of how it worked, and he told me that the biggest thing that people don't realize is like the consistency. You have to be doing it. Like, so if you do it from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, you have to continue to do that, and you cannot take days off. You cannot take time off because the people that like that is their routine. They come and spend time with you and they watch you. If you are gone for a week, they'll find
Someone
they'll
else.
go to a different one, and you can lose that person forever.
Wow.
And so it's like the idea of that sort of like you build this audience and you're sort of doing it every day, but like it is a part of someone's life. This is probably how long are the episodes?
45 minutes.
Okay, so it's like a traditional show that's being run. It's a little easier probably, but I think it becomes a part of, almost like a sports season. You can expect it, and it becomes like a routine.
Wow. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, I was
No,
going
no,
to
go
say, I think one thing that I like about this format, look, the daily thing, that to me feels a lot, unless you're a fan or unless you're someone looking for that type of an outlet. Also on the production end, I mean, that must be a wild thing to film and clip up, even if it's a kind of some of the more empty spaces, like boring, quote unquote boring parts of the show. But it gives off that authenticity. Anyway, one thing I like about this format is the fan voting. And the reason being, there are times like I've seen other shows, like we talk about it, other reality dating shows and stuff. And as a person watching the show, you can sometimes see also shady stuff happening behind the scenes that the couple itself may not know. And so you're shouting at the TV like, dump him, dump her, or whatever, but you have no control over that. You have no ability to vote or whatever to kind of separate a couple that viewers know, like, this isn't, like, he's being shady right now. You should not be with him. And if they like the girl, let's, like, get him off, pair her up with somebody else. So I like that aspect of it because it's almost like hopefully some of the viewers have each individual person's back on the show so that you could vote. Now, if it turns into just a popularity contest where it's like not really the people who are most in love make it through, that kind of is like also a bummer, because then
Right.
it is more like who's more likable or who's cuter or who's whatever. Those people end up winning versus really who's more in love.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if I don't even know if NBC even cares about that aspect of things because they want viewership, but that could be a cool thing where it's like, no, the goal is to find a really solid couple and it's the viewers voting to make sure to almost keep each other in check,
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that's been happening lately where there'll be a couple that is behind the scenes toxic. They'll be maybe popular in the villa, but viewers can see through it and they can see them flirting with other people or just being kind of sketchy. And so lately, whenever that happens, when they have new people come in, the bombshells come in, they'll automatically pair them with one of those people, just
I
to
see.
break them up, just
Nice.
because they're like, you need to be away from this person for a little bit. Yeah, the control that we have is crazy, I think.
And for the voting aspect of stuff, is it like you have multiple points of voting during the show, or is it like there's one vote to be cast?
Multiple.
Oh, multiple points.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's usually like once a week we're allowed to vote on something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my last question. So are there ads like within the show? Like is someone like,
Yeah.
I'm really tired. I wish I had a Red Bull right now. Red Bull is really refreshing. I wish I had one.
Normally they do that kind of stuff during like challenges, right? Like
I
like
was gonna say
sponsored.
there's a 643% lift in brand memorability for integrated partners, and there's 21 integrated brand partners in the season thus far, with brands like CeraVe, Coffee Mate, Maybelline, Poppi, Motorola, all woven into the show. So no direct ad reads, just
Product placement.
drinking Poppi, yes,
Right.
brand placement everywhere.
And what was the lift you said? What's the percentage?
643% lift.
I mean, that's interesting because that piggybacks off of what we've talked about for a long time. Even with all of the host-read podcast deals that we've done, whether it's, Stephen A. Smith or Gwyneth Paltrow or you name it, we've seen the trend shift to authenticity, and product placement done correctly is almost more powerful than traditional advertising because people believe it. If you can properly integrate a brand into a show or a platform in a way that feels authentic to that show and platform, that does more to boost credibility for that brand than any traditional ad read or commercial can do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. On Emerson's previous note, so funny you mentioned sports. This is the sports for girls, I think, probably the show. There's now fan betting. Apps like Goss and FanDuel, they run live Love Island odds, which just started this year. You can bet on who gets dumped from the villa, who's breaking up next episode, who's going to cry, who's going to fight by the end of the week.
Wow.
And
Have you ever bet on this?
I have not. I don't have money.
Have you been tempted to?
You know what? Emerson and I almost did.
I had Gwen
That's
take a
funny.
look at my Kalshi and she looked at the percentages and gave me some pointers. But
Did you bet on it?
no, I was too afraid.
Do you even watch Love Island?
No. No, I just saw it on.
Using Gwen as
I saw it on the thing, and I said, Gwen, I know you watch the show. Like, is Braden gonna get kicked off? Because the odds are looking pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah, a crazy way to drive retention, honestly.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of the brands that are advertising, Poppi, Motorola. Give me some of the other brands that are advertising on Love Island. right?
Maybelline. Maybelline's
Okay.
a big one. They come back pretty much every season, and it's easy. It's makeup, so you can see the girls using it. Sometimes they'll host challenges. Which ones did I say also? CeraVe, Coffee Mate.
Okay.
Yeah. All, again, like you said, very easy brands, I think, to place into these shows.
Organically.
Like
Organically.
stuff they need almost every day. You know,
Yes.
drinks.
Any
makeup,
liquor
et cetera.
brands?
No.
Yeah.
They don't explicitly say that they're drinking.
Okay.
I think the first day they'll greet them all with champagne, and that's kind of it. I only know because I've watched interviews of previous Islanders that say they'll feed you about 2 drinks a night, but you have a 2-drink limit.
Interesting.
They don't want you too drunk.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
I'd imagine that make for better television.
That's what I assume.
You would think. I think The Bachelor goes crazier. I think
Okay.
they feed them a lot of alcohol throughout the show, and you can kind of tell they cry a lot more. But this show, I think they want you to be pretty authentic in that case.
I wonder if that's a way of them balancing the budget. Like, hey, don't drink it all. We have to put out an episode every single
Well,
day.
they could get,
I also thought it'd be
Ciroc to
interesting to mention the
put on the table.
That's true.
there is now a paywall to watch Love Island on Peacock.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have a Peacock subscription.
So the base tier for Peacock is Select, and that's $7.99 a month. Now they require you to pay the premium subscription, which is $10.99 a month. If you want to watch
Interesting.
just Love Island.
When did that shift happen?
This year.
This year.
And no
Wow.
notice. No, they didn't email subscribers. They didn't send out a post or anything. It was
That's
urgent
smart.
that if you wanted to watch Love Island, you just found out if you had the Select. and
That
you're
you
like,
could-
shoot, I gotta upgrade right now because I
Yeah,
wanna
that's
watch
what I
it.
was gonna
Yeah.
say. That's smart because if in the moment you have a party or you really want to watch it, and you go to watch it, and you're like, oh, it's about to start. I have to upgrade it. I mean, I'd say 9 times out of 10 people are choosing to upgrade.
I mean, to me, it just shows that they have so much confidence in this show that they just know people will, one, upgrade to that subscription tier in order to watch it, and new people will pay that money.
How many seasons so far?
Of USA, there's 8.
8. Oh, okay. So they've been doing it for some, and it's
Yeah.
the same format since season 1. Every single day for a while.
Every single
Okay.
day. UK has been running since 2005.
Oh wow! And again, same format.
Same format.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Longer.
So yeah, way
Yeah.
longer. Wow. So
Yeah.
tried and tested.
Yeah.
If you want actual real-time stats so far, season 7 is the most watched Peacock original ever, with 18 billion minutes streamed.
Wow.
1.9 billion minutes in its peak week. The first time any Peacock show hit #1 on Nielsen's weekly streaming chart. 223 million social engagements.
Wow.
And 54% of viewing was adults 18 to 34, which nearly half were first-time franchise viewers.
Wow.
And it's exactly the audience that advertisers struggle to reach. So,
Wow.
quite cool.
Love
that
Island is big business.
We love Love Island.
Yeah.
Advertisers love Love Island.
So, Gwen, talk to us about the Love Island contestant to influencer pipeline. You were saying that a lot of the Love Island contestants turn into influencers. There's sort of a career waiting for them post Love Island. Who are some of the big ones that have really blown up after their Love Island careers?
I will say season 6, a lot of those contestants have grown really big. Leah and Miguel was a couple that paired up that season, and they do brand deals as a couple to this day. Last season, we had a contestant. Her name was Huda Mustafa, and she was very controversial. She was kind of toxic and crazy, but just had a brand deal with Huda Beauty. Which
Huda
is,
Beauty.
Which is
a
separate
beauty
from
brand
her?
that's separate from her.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's not her brand.
No.
That's smart.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is smart.
There's a ton of random social media accounts on Instagram and TikTok that do live follower counts every episode. They like to see how much it grows by the episode, and they'll rank them. So this person started off with 2,000 on Instagram, and after the first week of Love Island has come out, they're now at 80K, and it just keeps growing and growing. And
Do you
growing.
have any stats on specific people?
I don't. Let's look.
just-
This season?
Yeah. That's interesting, right? Like you hit this show and you have 2,000 followers. By end of week 1, you have 80,000 followers. Who knows? But maybe by the end of the season, you're at 500,000, 1 million followers. Just your ability to turn that into the revenue at the end of a season is significant.
Right.
So
I would have to imagine the amount of people that are like applying to be on the show has gone up.
Yeah.
Like thousands of percent.
Because we've seen this with a lot of the brand deals that we've done, which is a celebrity with 500,000 followers is more valuable than an influencer with 1 million followers. Because that's actual celebrity, that unquantifiable thing, means so much more when it comes to authority over audience than an influencer who is a non-celebrity with more followers. So these people are sort of like celebrities / influencers because they were on a television show. They've built this relationship with the audience that is hard to replicate with just purely social. Obviously you can, a lot of people do it, but not in the same way. And so they're leaving the show with this tangible asset, which is clout following that then they parlay into brand deals and revenue and all the other things.
Yeah. So one Islander that I see, Kenzie, she's a big one this season. Started off with 8,000 followers on Instagram and updated 3 days ago. She's at 120K.
120,000. And the season's not over yet.
No, it's only been a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
pretty
significant.
hefty.
And she's not posting during this period,
No.
right? Because
They-
she's on the show.
Yeah, they don't have
I'll
their
be
phones.
Very surprised.
Yeah.
So-
Sometimes they'll have friends and family post for them while they're gone.
oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Then keep it-
screenshots
makes
of them
sense.
on the show to get builds.
They have our version of Dat just scheduling posts while they're at an island.
I would hire an agent like before I went.
Yeah.
I'd be
Well, yeah,
like-
because you also want to monitor comments. I would feel like.
I would hire someone to
Yeah.
be like, I'm
100%.
fielding,
Yeah.
everything right away.
I was just looking up some stats. So apparently Molly May Haig from UK and Hada Mustafa, currently the most followed Love Island contestants across the franchise. Molly May, 8.5 million Instagram followers, and Hada reached over 6 million TikTok followers. So that's wild.
I kind of want to watch
An episode.
an episode of
Yeah.
Love Island and get.
100%.
You should.
I mean,
Just
you
don't
might
want to
get
get
hooked.
it. That's
You might
that's
be
the
running
thing,
home
man.
every day. What time does it air every day?
6
At 6 p.m. Oh,
6 p.m.
Yeah.
Adam, don't watch it.
I don't know if I could
We
do it.
need you in the office.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, back when it was just cable television, no streaming.
Yeah.
You remember how MTV would do those marathons? So it was like a Saturday and I had nothing to do, and it was a Jersey Shore marathon. And I ended up watching like 3 episodes of Jersey Shore, and I had to physically stop myself. I'm like, Adam, no, you're not getting hooked into this. And I like turned the television off,
100%.
But
100%.
Jersey Shore is good.
yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Jersey Shore is before your time.
I love
When-
it though.
yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
It's an unk show.
It's an unk show.
What else do we need to know about Love Island before we go do our own market research at 6 o'clock, except Wednesdays?
Yeah, just tune in. I mean, clearly meme culture is also free advertising. Brands like Duolingo, Scrub Daddy,
Okay.
reached about 9 million people in engagement just off of trend jacking the show. That's kind of everything that I have so far on Love Island. Just
Okay.
that it's a crazy show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you first start watching it?
How many seasons in are you?
I first started watching, I think, in high school.
Okay.
UK was the first one to come out, and Australia and USA didn't come out until 2015 and 2016. It was fairly recent. But when Love Island USA first came out, it was bad. It was really bad, and the network said that it did way worse than they thought it would. And it wasn't until season 6 that it blew up. That was a couple years ago, yeah. And that's when I started rewatching it. That's when my love grew for it again. But
Season 6.
yes.
Okay.
But UK, it was hard for me to keep up. 50, that means 50 days of my time I'd have to invest in watching that.
That's a lot.
Are people going back and watching old seasons of Love Island? Like if you're into this new season, you just came in on season 8, you said? Are those people after their 1 hour going like, okay, I'm going to start back from season 1 and just watch up until date?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I think USA, they'd probably start in season 6. That's
Okay.
when it starts to get better. I think they started formatting it differently too. I'm not 1,000% sure. I barely watched season 1, but
I don't know if people would probably watch different seasons while they're already on one season, but probably after, like the summer after the season's done.
yeah.
And especially if they're new watchers and they're hooked, I'd be shocked if they don't go back one season and keep going back one season to fill the time before the next summer, you know? Because if you find like a good show, like for example, Survivor, I know it's not like a Love Island style show, but they've been running for decades,
Yep.
right? And Anne and I went through a season of watching Survivor, and we watched a season, and they were like, you know what? Let's go back one. And we went all the way back to the beginning. You know, you're talking about like the TV format had to change
Yeah.
of how old it is, right?
Yeah, Survivor started when we were in high school.
Yeah, you know, and so it's one of those things. It's like once you're hooked and you enjoy the format, you enjoy the the drama, you enjoy the challenges or whatever it may be, I don't think people will be put off by by the quantity they have to consume.
Yeah.
Because people are consuming it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're enjoying it, that's all that matters.
Fun fact: Rich and I had a buddy who was on Survivor.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
That's right.
Shout out to Tyler Fredrickson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Did he win?
No,
did
he
not
didn't win, but he did a good job.
He did a good job. He, I think, made it halfway through the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
About
nice.
halfway through the show.
He's a former pro athlete.
Yep.
He was a kicker for the Cal Bears when Aaron Rodgers was there. And then, went to the league for a bit and, worked in entertainment for a while and then ended up
Yeah.
getting on Survivor.
It's interesting, really nice guy, but you see how big their personalities are. So I'm sure as he didn't win, right? But as these networks are also trying to find the right person, I think the interview process would be very intriguing.
Yeah.
Right? How do you find not only the right person who potentially could make it through the whole show, but someone that fans would enjoy and love and care for? But yeah, I mean, nice guy. Big
He was a
personality.
funny guy, too.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he was super
Hilarious.
funny.
That is one element that they're a little bit secretive about when it comes to most reality TV is the audition process. I've seen videos of people talking about how they've auditioned or interviewed, and it sounds pretty standard.
Oh, okay.
But I do wonder how they weed out
Yeah.
the crazies and the.
So I have some insight into that process because when I worked in the entertainment industry, I've actually sat in on screenings for reality TV shows. I had a good friend who he works in that world. His name's Lamont Pete, and he's still crushing in that space. He's actually really, really skyrocketed. And so I remember he invited me to this screening thing where they were interviewing applicants for a comedy show. And it was the most awkward thing ever because you're in this casting room and there's 15 people in there. And this comedian comes in and does a solid 5 minute, and they're comedians. They're doing their whole thing. And so the first one that came in, at the end of it, I start clapping and everyone's silent. And they all just look back at me. I'm like, oh shit! Apparently, you're not supposed to give this poor person any
kind of
sort of
indication.
positive
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Whereas I just felt so bad for them. I'm like, they're here pouring their heart out, and everyone's just stone faced.
That would be tough.
No one's laughing, and no one's clapping, and they're funny too. But so.
That's tough, especially for comedians, because one, they feed off the energy, but two, if something's truly funny, how do you stop yourself from laughing?
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that would be a challenge,
Yeah. Cold-blooded casting directors.
I guess,
that's it.
man. I guess.
That would throw me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Gwen. Outside of Love Island, what else do the unks need to be educated on?
Have any of you guys watched Obsession or Backrooms recently? Seen anything about it?
No,
Buzz?
nothing.
I know Obsession, but I have not. I haven't seen it.
What?
But
How
I
do you
know
know
it.
Obsession?
It's the movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a movie. Okay.
I just know it came out and did pretty well. But I have
Yeah.
not seen it. It is a horror movie, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of them are horror movies. Came out in the past month in May. Both originated by young creators on YouTube.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yes.
both broke box office records,
Wow.
becoming big movies of the summer.
Wow. I've not heard of either of those. Both are horror movies, you said?
Both are horror movies.
That makes sense. So I've also not heard of it.
Okay, hold on. These movies were directed and filmed by YouTube creators.
Yes.
Okay.
The ideas originated from.
The ideas originated and then were bought by a big studio.
Were bought by big studios. Backrooms was A24, and Obsession was Focus Features.
But I think Obsession was directed by the guy that was the
Both of them
creator.
The YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh,
They directed.
were directed by the YouTubers. Wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal.
And they were both based off of YouTube videos and series that they used to do when they were younger.
And were they big YouTube channels?
Not really.
Interesting.
No, they had videos that went viral.
Okay.
And they were the original ideas.
I read an interview with the Obsession person, and he seemed like a real filmmaker, that just happened to go that route.
Yep.
It wasn't. It's a pretty serious filmed movie. It's not like it doesn't look like it's a YouTube brought to
Yeah.
the big screen.
Yes. Obsession was Curry Baker. He was a film
That's right.
student.
Yeah.
And the budget for the movie Obsession originally was $750,000. Grossed $105 million
Wow.
domestically,
Wow.
which has been Focus Features' biggest film ever so far.
What's the gross on Backrooms?
Backrooms is $10 million.
So I think Obsession, maybe by this point, I think this is true. Domestically, like in the U.S., has outgrossed the Star Wars movie, that the Mandalorian and
Oh wow,
Grogu
that
movie
TV show.
that they made the movie out of that
Oh,
that came out, and that is a crazy sort of change in like how people are seeing movies.
Yeah.
You know, man, I love it. I love that the barrier to entry for these creatives is breaking down, and there isn't this chokehold gateway where you can control access in the same way you could in the past. There's so many of these examples. I mean, the ones you brought up, Glenn, of these two movies from like YouTubers who have now parlayed this into major motion pictures. But Rich, I was telling you yesterday, you know, this guy Adrian Per, you know, who's like killing it on Instagram, like super talented guy. He posted about this video about this movie that was apparently fully created with Higgsfield AI, you know, and like so they've created this entire like motion picture using Higgsfield AI. I believe everything in that motion picture is AI generated, and Adrian Per was complimenting this. You know, he was essentially saying like, "This is incredible. I can't believe it." He obviously uses Higgsfield and has done a lot of tutorials, but then he got a lot of like hate from like filmmakers and, you know, about like this is destroying creativity and this is this, that, and the other. And I watched some of the hate and I understand, you know, that perspective because people feel nervous about their jobs and their craft and their art. And, you know, I empathize towards that. But ultimately, movies are for entertainment. And if it's good or not, outside of subjective bias towards a movie, will be determined by whether people watch it or not. And if they watch it, that means it was good because it entertained people. And clearly people are watching this movie, you know, that was created by the YouTube people, by Higgsfield AI, which means there's value in it, you know? So I think it's fantastic.
Fantastic, and you know, and I think, you know, it's all about attention, right? We
Yeah.
always talk about everything, social, Love Island, these movies, any movie, anything that comes out, any content. It's all about the eyeballs, the attention, whether people will be entertained by it, right? And I feel like sometimes creators and producers or whoever try to get too artsy, but the artsiness distracts from the story. It distracts from being entertaining. And so if like someone can, I'm a very easy consumer of anything movie entertainment related. If it's entertaining, I'm not judging it. I'm like, I was entertained. It allowed me 2 hours to get lost in the story, and cool. Whereas there are others who will go into it, or maybe the Higgsfield movie or whatever, and they're like, oh, it was made with AI and it's fake, it is this, it's that. Who cares? Were you entertained? Was it a good story? Was it shot well? Was it not distracting? Did it kind of make you laugh, cry, scared, whatever? And if it did, and that was the goal of the movie, well then it was good.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
there's no actors in The Simpsons and Family Guy. It's animated. You
Voice
know.
actors.
Yeah,
But
voice
that's
actors.
it,
But
yeah.
so what's the difference between same thing? You're just making it realistic instead of
Yeah,
a cartoon.
that's
You're
true.
just using the medium to be able to tell your story. You know, and I think the other thing.
It's still human drawn, the animation.
Yeah, probably. You know, but so it's still an animation though, you know, regardless of like the medium of how you get there. So what's the difference between hand drawing and prompting, right? Like it still takes a human to sit there and make that vision come to life. And, you know, for me, I think a lot of it is scarcity mindset because I think there's so many people and there's so many consumers and there's an ass for every seat. You know, I mean, like there are people who are going to like a certain medium and they're going to watch it. And you can do human made films and like there's going to be a ton of people who watch it, and you can do, YouTube content, and there's a ton of people who watch it. And, 10% of music sales last year were vinyl records.
Wow.
10%. That's a
crazy.
crazy number.
Yeah.
Like 10% of music sales were vinyl records. That's not a threat to streaming or, anything else, but like there's people who resonate with vinyls and they buy it. But if you want to stream it, you stream it. And
Yeah. Well, I feel like that also shows how starved a big percentage of the population is for that authenticity. If they're going and wanting the scratches and the distortion, the sound that you get from those vinyls, which is a very unique sound, it makes them feel like they're part of something real.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, as like AI increases in our entertainment and I guess in our consumption of content, how many people will how many other industries that were once quote unquote lost or fell to the wayside because new technology took it over, how many of those will be revived as a result? I mean, 10% is a massive
The friction there would be people wanting to get away from the AI, not that AI would be authentic. Because I think the argument you're making is almost at odds with like the obsession, like the obsessions of the world, which are very much like gritty, handmade movies without the digital and all the sort of AI there, and that sort of fact that like it beat out Star Wars is the audience saying like, we don't want this like junk that you're giving us with the AI, CGI stuff in the background and all the sort of fakeness. Like we'd prefer this thing that's more authentic.
Yep.
And I see a lot of these these Twitter bozos that are all about AI on, and they'll make some little 20-second clip and go like, oh, the movie industry's over. All these people are going to need to find jobs. And it will be like something that looks really interesting, but is like not storytelling. It's just like, wow, look at how realistic this stuff looks now. But that's not really, that's not really working. Now, to your point, there's probably someone, I think, who was the director? I think Martin Scorsese actually had something very recently where he said, there was some element of AI that he was sort of praising. And I think even people got kind of mad at him about it that are just really, really anti-AI. And I think there is a space for sort of both of it. But a lot of like how films are made revolves around where money is going to go. So even like with Obsession, it wasn't a very expensive movie to make, but someone had to give him the money to make that. And I think there's often a fear that the actual studios and the big companies that control this money just go, well, why would we take a chance on this when we can just sort of digitally sort of do it?
Right. Yeah.
But ultimately, to your point, it's like the people can make that decision. So it's really what's really cool about Obsession and Backrooms is, it's kind of a little bit of a wake-up call to these big studios that go like, wait, so we just spent $400 million on a movie and versus like what these guys are. I mean, A24 has been doing this now for years, but I think people need to be careful that just because something exists doesn't mean that there's an actual like auteur or sort of mind behind like the storytelling and how things are going to be seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% agree with that. So I think you and I are on the same page. I feel like there's gonna be enough for everybody. There are gonna be people who are super into kind of AI and the new stuff that's coming out, what creatives are doing with that, and they're gonna go to the theaters and they're gonna be wowed by it. And then there are gonna be other people who go to the theaters and be like, oh, this is crap, right? On the flip side, I think as we go into a more and more digital space, you are gonna get a certain level of consumership consumers who are starved for that authenticity. We want real humans. We want maybe even old school cameras filming the stuff to give it more of that life to it. And I think of the movie, which I guess it's a precursor to Obsession and the Backwoods. You said
Backrooms.
Backwoods, is that what it's called?
Backrooms.
Backrooms.
What's a backwood? Did I say something wrong?
This is where we can
backward is
the
like
editor,
a blunt,
we
right?
finally
Oh,
have
backwards
the
is a
editors
blunt?
now in this part of the podcast. If you can edit in just like a stop point
if
where it says
someone was
certified
smoking
Uncle
some
moment,
backwoods
just
while
like
filming
stamps it on his,
Backrooms,
on his face.
All right.
We finally got one.
Yeah.
That was your certified unk moment.
There we go. There we go. So okay, Backrooms is the Blair Witch Project.
100%.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah,
I was trying to get the name, you know, yeah, 100%.
Yes.
But that was, I mean, that was a massive hit, and it was used like it was like wasn't it some like college students or I forget the story of it, but it was so low production, and it was a massive hit.
Yeah.
Look, I think both can coexist. And
Yep.
I think that if you guys think that a world is not coming very quickly where some young, brilliant director or visionary who we've never heard of is going to be able to use AI tools to create an incredible movie, you're tripping. Like, it's coming. You know, it's coming fast. And that doesn't mean that actors and filmmakers and all of that are going away. But now these younger people with visions who don't have, to your point, Emerson, someone who's going to give them $500,000, $1 million is going to use these AI tools to find a way to bring their vision to life. And I think it's going to be good. And both are going to be able to coexist, you know? So,
Yeah.
and I think the studios are at a certain point going to start replacing things with AI. Rich and I were talking about this yesterday, right? Like, same Adrian Per guy. He did this tutorial on how to use Higgs field to create lighting and make the lighting the way you want it in a scene for a social video of his. Again, he got a bunch of hate for this, but he created this video and it wasn't lit very well. And then he popped into Higgs field and he used Higgs field to light it perfectly how he wanted to. And I looked at it and I was like, that looks like a beautifully lit scene. And so then there's people who are angry and they're like, oh, what about the art of lighting and this, that, and the other? But how many production shoots have we done and paid for? And I can imagine a future where we go like, Ray, do we really need to travel with all of the lights there? Do we really need to rent thousands of dollars of equipment? Can't you just shoot it the way it is? And then we'll pop it into Higgs field and we'll light it perfectly. The studios are going to make those same calculuses. They're going to make those exact same calculuses as long as the end product is what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I mean, all of these, they're all tools,
Yeah.
right? In the end, and the thing is, I don't think the tools necessarily replace the art; it expands on it.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you're in the filming world or photography or movies or TV shows even, and you are unwilling to explore the new tools that are being made available to you, well, you're just choosing to not add that to your tool belt, right? That doesn't mean you're going to be left behind because art is art in any way. I mean, we could now go and print beautifully made pictures that are all completely digitized, right? But there's a value to a person also hand painting that art, right?
Yeah.
There's a story behind it. So like you said, I don't think one gets rid of the other, you know, or replaces the other completely.
Not
I don't
completely.
think, you know, I think there's still value to human actors and certain levels of emotion and et cetera in the actual art of filming. But again, there's always going to be something for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
So
It just adds competition. I
Yeah,
think that's all
that's
it is.
it.
And I think that's what scares people. It's, you know, the idea that AI or this small town kid with a YouTube channel can replace your career or just challenge it and challenge your ideas is where the criticism is coming from.
100%.
This makes me actually sort of a digression, but semi-related, talking about like the artist and the tools, right? The NBA finals are going on. Knicks versus Spurs currently. Epic meltdown by the Spurs. But on Twitter, something that's been going extremely viral at Knicks games, a lot of celebrities in the front row, right? Like every Knicks fan, celebrities everywhere. But Ben Stiller has been recording videos of the Knicks playing on his iPhone, and he's been posting them on Twitter. And some people are hating on him because he's recording in landscape, and they're like, look at this boomer, like recording in landscape, like who does that anymore? But a lot of people are complimenting him because of the production value of the type of videos that he's watching. And I mean, the production value of the type of videos that he's recording. So I watched some of these videos, And I'm like, man, this is really cool. Like the way he films it, right? Like it's just so like well done. You can tell that he's like a professional and a director and a filmmaker and all the rest of it in the style that the video is shot. And some people are like, oh no, like it's just an iPhone video. Like, what are you guys talking about? But like the way he frames things and zooms in at the perfect moment and zooms out all on an iPhone. So I've been watching these videos and like following this as the playoffs have been going on. And I've been super impressed by it. As someone who, you know, we have production people on staff and we hire production people, I was like, for those who are like, anyone could do this, not anyone could do this. Like, you know, he is doing it very, very well. Rumor came out yesterday that he's actually filming a documentary for HBO on the Knicks run with his iPhone.
That's
No
funny.
way.
With his iPhone, you know. So
Wow.
we'll see if the rumors are true. But there's like very credible sources that have been putting these rumors out, and I'm like fascinated to watch this, even though I hate the Knicks, because I just want to see, like, you know, like, yeah, a guy that
fascinating.
talented
What can he do?
courtside, not being able to get the perfect angle that he wants, and you know, cameras everywhere in a closed environment, just sort of living in the moment at Madison Square Garden, recording these iPhone videos that are so impressive and cinematic and like really tell stories, you know, and like how he would parlay this into an actual documentary for HBO is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's like you said. I think the right tools in any artist's hand, they're gonna make art out of it,
Yeah.
right? So Ben Stiller, he has access to probably budgets that are wild and connections to big time, you know, producers and celebrities and all the inroads because of how long he's been in the game. But he's not courtside with the production crew or a massive crazy camera, right?
Yeah.
He's there with an iPhone, which
Yeah.
is
Crazy.
wild, you know. So art and artists aren't going anywhere,
Yep.
but they need to also adapt to the times. And just because you have the tool on your belt doesn't mean you have to use it, but at least you have the tool on your belt.
Yeah.
So
All right, Gwen, what else do the unks need to be educated on?
Okay, wait, before we move on, I want to make a correction. I was wrong about the
it was actually backwards. See, I was correct, guys.
back rooms. The number that I gave you earlier, 10 million, that was just for opening weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 81 million domestic and 118 million worldwide.
And how much did they spend filming it?
I don't have that. It's probably bigger.
Not 81
No,
million.
they would have made money on that.
I would imagine, right? How much?
I can't imagine they got $100 million dollar budget.
It is A24 though, no? Under 10 million. That's
Wow.
all. That's all
Okay.
that's reported. Yeah.
Well, I think on that movie, there's actually a pretty big actor
Okay.
who I'm terrible. I shouldn't be.
I had him in my notes and I didn't want to pronounce his name wrong. I got scared.
I will attempt to pronounce his name, and I apologize
He's Oscar award winning
ahead
though.
of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chitel Ejiofor. You guys will know what he looks like.
Let me see.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I will YouTube his name after this.
That was good.
Chutel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
This is another edit point where like we'll just overlay
Chutel
the actual
Ejiofor.
pronunciation over you
We
trying
will
to do
use
it.
AI in 11
Oh, yeah, yeah.
labs.
He was in
He's huge.
American Gangster.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a brother.
Many other productions
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
This guy's great.
So maybe a big part of that $10 million budget went to him.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I think a big part of the, just to put a bow in this for my side of things, is I think there's an element of just because you can do something that's close, does that actually make it better? So to your point with the lighting, okay, is it close or is it better or is it the exact same?
Yes.
And I think that becomes the debate.
Yep.
So and I think where there is fear is going like where the money is coming from, where these studios go close enough
Yep.
and the quality now degrades because you go, okay, well, this is going to be cheaper for us to do.
Yeah.
And in certain cases, that's going to make a lot of sense in advertising, in marketing, in places where, everything is dollar in, dollar out. But I think there's, I agree to this, to the point where at some point it probably may be better, or there may be some more unique things you can do with it, or creative things. But I think right now there's a lot of things where it's like, okay, I see why that is good, but it was a corner that got cut to be close, but not as good as it could have been.
Yeah. But I think that's where the market will just decide, right? Because I think that presupposes the assumption that the studios aren't cutting costs and making massive compromises now
Sure.
in the sake of profits, not necessarily with AI, but with other things. And we know, from our cousin that like 1000% that's happening. All sorts of compromises are already being made. And so I think, to your point, I think that's correct, is close enough, the same, better. So I think there will be certain studios that will always aspire to better.
Yeah.
Like the best possible outcome. And there are studios where close enough is good enough. What I think about more is the democratization of the ability to create for those who don't have studios. I'm thinking more about the creator. Just, Ray has an idea for a film, or, like Dat or Corey or whoever, and they're like, we don't have a budget, we don't have any of this, but I want to create this movie, and I think they are going to have abilities that have never been, exposed to. They're going to have the ability to do things that they've never had the ability to do in the past because of these tools. But like the big studios, I agree. I think there will be those who will cut costs, but I think there will also be those where that won't be good enough. But I want to bet that very soon these tools are going to be the same, if not better, at doing those things.
Certain things, probably.
Yeah.
Poppi. It's my next topic. Poppi, if you guys don't know, is a prebiotic, healthy soda drink that's low in sugar, and it was made from this woman who wanted to make prebiotic drinks to help her stomach issues. And it went from her making it in her kitchen to a now almost 2 billion sale to PepsiCo. Oh, yeah. 1.9 billion sale
1.9 billion.
To PepsiCo in 2025. Soda sales have been falling over the years, but prebiotic or like functional sodas have been extremely popular to the younger generation, who's now very health conscious when it comes to consuming drinks like that. It's Poppi and it's Olipop that are the big giants right now when it comes to the healthy sodas. And they have a ton of different flavors that vary from all the fruits to all the traditional sodas, so cola, root beer. And people say they stand out because of the bold packaging, which wasn't originally the case. It started off being pretty generic and minimalist, and it was called Mother. And Allison Ellsworth, who's the founder, she went on Shark Tank in 2018, and all the sharks did not like the idea. They didn't like the name. They didn't like the taste. And there's apple cider vinegar. One apple cider vinegar shot. That's what I think.
With all of them?
Yes,
Okay.
with all of them. And they didn't like her offer. But there was a guest shark, Rohan Oza.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
actually.
Massive
out.
CPG guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Known for his work with Vitamin Water
Yep.
and Bai. He stepped in and he offered them $400,000 for 25% equity.
Did she accept that?
She accepted it as
Wow.
long as she changed the name from Mother to Poppi, which is just a cute little name for soda pop. And you had to change the packaging. He wanted brighter cans, a more modern look, and people coined it the Cinderella transformation.
Wow.
Yeah, look, Poppy's brand is very noticeable.
Yeah.
And I think because of the brighter cans, right? The colorful cans, depending on the flavors. But yeah, the name is very cute, and it's something easy to remember.
Yeah.
I think
You know?
Olipop is a much better soda.
Olipop? Oh, actually, taste-wise?
I prefer Olipop.
I've not had either.
400,000, 25%, 2 billion. So $500 million, but he probably got diluted because they almost certainly raised more money after that. But
Still.
he definitely made out on that $400,000.
Well, but it also seems like it wouldn't have worked if it wasn't for his
Yeah.
ideas, right?
Yeah.
If he has all the ideas that actually
That's
worked, I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a
It would be
brilliant dude.
Poppi.
right.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant dude.
But it's interesting because in 2021, this was after obviously Shark Tank, Allison posted an organic origin story on TikTok that went viral, and it drove nearly 100,000 in sales in 24 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of the first brands that people say out of the consumer packaged goods industry that truly mastered TikTok and organic posting. And by 2023, they crossed 100 million in annual sales. By this time, they were already kind of doing buzzy stunts. They were partnering with Coachella, celebrities, influencers like Post Malone, the Lakers,
Wow.
Alex Earl. They have a Target apparel line, which I actually didn't know about until I did research on this as well. Yeah, after that, there was kind of controversy.
Does she still work as acting CEO of Poppi, or once she was bought out, did essentially Pepsi?
I don't think so. Let me double check on that. Who is?
I'd be curious about that. You know, because also one of the things that I think about, like these founders who start these companies, especially like Gwen was saying, from their kitchen, it gets this big and they have this opportunity to sell. Like, how many of them are hesitant because they're like, well, I still want to work in the
Absolutely.
business, you know?
She's chief brand officer.
Okay, so
And
she's
she's
still
in it
very
now.
much involved.
Yes.
So I saw this clip pop up, and I was going to talk about it, and then Gwen brought up Poppi, and I was like, okay, cool. Then
Is
now-
this right now? Like, did this just happen?
I think it happened recently.
Is this
Like,
why,
this
like,
clip?
this is why this is a topic on the educating the youngs?
There actually is surprisingly a lot of controversy behind Poppi. I think
Oh,
that's
interesting.
why, yeah, there's been buzz on it
Yeah.
lately, and I had to do some digging, but
Yeah.
they've been through the ringer. They had like a court case also, a
Oh, wow.
lawsuit. Yeah. last
So this
year.
is her sitting down with the Wall Street Journal.
Life balance. I think if you want to be successful, you kind of have to sacrifice that for a little bit. I remember with my first, I was on the bottling line, went into labor, took 3 Zooms from the hospital, talking through with suppliers, and I was back on the filling line with the baby strapped to me 2 weeks later. I think absolutely I had the night sweats and you're exhausted and you feel crazy, but I had a good support system. My mom helped raise our kids. My husband was very supportive. I trusted the team to be there when I couldn't be there. And I set a good example. I took off when I needed to take off, or I said I was exhausted when I needed to be exhausted. And for me, I think it's okay to work hard. I think it's okay to live in chaos and to like it. I think that can be controversial. A lot of people work.
But I found this video so interesting because, you know, obviously you post something like that and you're going to get flamed, right, in the comments. You just already know that that's going to happen. But I found that video interesting because I agreed with her, right? And I think the problem is the definition of success is so personal to different people. And I think that's why there's so much controversy that happens when a person who sold her company for $2 billion says, like, work-life balance is not a thing, is because her definition of success is building a $2 billion company versus people who are upset with it. Their definition of success may be different, and there's no right or wrong. You know, there's nothing wrong with her wanting to work that hard and not have any work-life balance if her definition of success is building Poppi into this company that can be acquired by this other company for $2 billion. But on the flip side, you have people who are like, I make $200,000 a year and I work 40, 50 hours a week, and I have my time with my family, and I can go hiking and running and live my life however I want to live my life, and they are successful. And that's it. Like, I know people, one person I'm thinking of specifically, who she's absolutely brilliant, you know, and she could be making so much money, but she likes backpacking the globe. And one week she's in Thailand, and the next week she's somewhere else. And, you know, like, and for her, that is successful because that is how she wants to live her life. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I think the reason is people view success as this like one thing, you know, that like everyone needs to aspire to that. But as long as what you want out of life is in line with what you're doing, I think you are successful.
No, 100%, 100%. You know, I think, I've always said, you know, work is life and life is work. It's like you can't move through life without working, and if, and everyone's work looks different, right? So for her, building a $2 billion, you know, company, or it being sold, right, for 2 billion, for her it was like, yeah, I have to take these meetings because I want to take these meetings. Yes, I know I have to have a baby and in the hospital. I mean, it's a wild story, you know. It's crazy to hear, and like people sitting back might be like, that's nuts. You should be focusing on delivery. You should be focusing on your child. You should be focusing on these things. And who's to say she's not? But she also seems like she really enjoys the work, as much as it might be exhausting and tough. But like, I don't ever think I've seen a professional athlete not sweat. What they do is hard. It's hard stuff, and it's not for everybody, right? Jordan's, you know, level of success, or what he deems success, is going to be very different from other athletes, you know. And so, or even Kobe Bryant, they talk about the Mamba mentality, right? So it's very different. So 100%.
Yeah, but like, I 100% agree with all of that. The point I'm making is like, you don't have to aspire to that.
You don't have
to be
No,
successful.
absolutely not.
You know, and it's in no pejorative way is saying like, I want, you know, I work to make money and support my lifestyle, and after I'm out of work, I don't want to think about it, and I don't care, and that's what it does. As long as I do a good job, it continues to support my life, and that's okay. You know, the point I'm making is like, that's cool.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
that's totally cool. Like we don't have to have this culture where we're like, no, you could be optimizing for more. For those of us who want to, great.
Yep.
But for those who don't want to do that, there's many things in life more important than making money, you know? And like, who's to say that someone who gets to 70 years old and didn't make millions or billions of dollars, but like their kids love them, and, you know, like they've got this very rich life. Who's to say that that person is less successful? Elon Musk is a trillionaire. He doesn't seem like a very happy person, you know, like he just doesn't. Like, I don't know him, obviously, but he doesn't, from outward looking in, he doesn't look like a very happy person. And so who's to say that like all of those trillions at 80 years old is worth any more than the guy who's got, you know, 350,000 in his IRA and living comfortably, but, you know, like has a family he loves and friends and community and all the rest of it. It's just, you know, we need to break out of this mindset of like hating on either side of the equation and anything in between. Ultimately, success is what you want it to be for yourself, and then you can decide what sacrifices and compromises or not you're willing to make for that.
Gwen, do you have any insight into like what the what the response was like to that, like why that was controversial?
To
That like
Adam's
that particular video?
no.
Was that a part of it? 'Cause- so I was ready to actually say that when you were told me about that, I was like, well, here's all the reasons I would have a problem with her, like how she's probably phrasing that.
Yep.
I actually have less problem with the actual video than I thought I was going to have
Yeah.
with it. So now I'm wondering like what people were upset, like what specific things people were upset about with it, because I do think there's an element of like it's easy to like, it doesn't really seem like she's saying you have to do this to be successful. Like there was an element. I thought it was going to be patronizing to the point of like, well, if you actually want to make it, you have to do these things. It actually didn't come off that way, but I do think there is an element of like, there are a lot of people who work really hard that don't have the opportunity to do what she just did in that video. There are a lot of people who can't take the time off, who have to come back when they've had a kid, who like, there are a lot of people who don't get to like, you know, leave it to their staff or like do all that sort of stuff. And so there's a level of, you know, even like you could want to be a success, you could be working really, really hard and feel like, okay, well, this person's telling me I need to do like work harder. And like that, I think annoys people when you're in a situation where you're like, I'm doing everything that I need to do. And it's not necessarily like, I have my own business to start. Like I'm trying to, make it and survive and get to the next level. And depending on sort of where you're at, it's not really like fair for someone, in that situation to be like, just work harder.
Yeah.
And I don't really think
I
she
don't
was
think
doing
so,
that,
yeah.
really. 'Cause that's what I thought it was going to be. But I didn't think so. That's why I'm wondering why that specific statement was
Well,
controversial.
I think if all of these people who say things like this, like her, Kim Kardashian got in a lot of trouble, for this, like a ton of, people who are just like work harder, is if they prefaced every one of those pieces of advice with, if you're trying to build $1 billion company, like if that is the preface to the statement, I don't think there's any controversy, because I think, to your point, Emerson, a lot of people hear this and are like, she's talking to me. But I don't think she's talking to you.
Yeah.
I think she's talking to people who are trying to build companies like Poppi. If she was talking to the everyday person, I would agree that that's extremely patronizing. Like there are a lot of people who don't have the luxury of working in whatever job they want.
Yeah.
They are like, I need to provide for my family, and like that's it. So, but I'll read you some of the comments. Just so. So, if you're the highest ranking woman in a company, stop setting the precedent that you should be working up to and right after giving birth. Right? I don't think that's what she was doing, but that's how that was
That makes sense.
interpreted. I appreciate her honesty about what it took to realize her dreams. Most people die with their dreams unrealized. Everything isn't for everyone, so let's normalize doing what works for you, your dreams, your choices, your work ethics, and your priorities. I think that's
yeah,
well,
right.
that's kind of what
spot
she
on.
said
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
video.
Wholly out of touch.
Well, that I sort of agree with.
In quotation marks with the like small case, uppercase thing, right? Like people just don't want to work anymore. 100% not buying it. If it's not my company, don't expect this from me. Ew, stop. Welp, no more Poppi.
That's hilarious.
This is obviously a pre-politics campaign and we're not buying it. Yeah, I'll pass. Boo. This needs a trigger warning. Setting a good example is not normalizing this kind of behavior.
What account is this on? The
Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
So that's funny. What was the other Poppi like controversy then?
Well, it's funny actually. On that note, one of them was a pre-Super Bowl collab that they were doing, or not collab, like a campaign, where they send a bunch of influencers these bright pink vending machines of Poppi. I think there were 30 of them, 30 big influencers, and people got really upset at that because they also said it was out of touch.
Yep.
They were like, why are you sending free soda to people who make way more than the average person?
Yep.
It feels
just
tone
marketing.
deaf. I know, which is really funny. It mimics the video that you
Yeah.
also shared.
It feels like they are so close to being able to do what they're trying to do there. Like even that video and like that, it's almost like without getting pushback. Now there's pushback in a lot of, places, but it's almost like they're just
close.
quite, quite not quite there.
Well, it's funny because after that, they started sending it to random civilians. To make up for it, they started sending it to teachers and police officers. And
Like vending machines.
like big vending machines,
Wow.
yes.
If someone sent a vending machine to me, that would irritate the hell out of me. What the hell am I gonna
It's
do?
probably also an audience. It's an audience
Poppy.
fit thing.
Yeah,
Right?
like, what am I doing?
If you were a different type of product and
Yeah.
you gave that same exact thing, I don't think you have any pushback.
Yeah.
And or if you were a different type of product and you sent your stuff to the influencers, I mean the audience for prebiotic soda
Yeah.
is going to run
Sure.
pretty young and pretty sort of with it compared to
Yes.
it's not Black Rifle coffee.
Yep.
Right? It's not sort of ties
Yes.
or even golf clubs or whatever, right? So I think a lot of it is kind of understanding who's buying your product. I think that is a kind of an expensive soda too, right? It's
like $3 single
per can.
and then like up to 26, I think, for a 12-pack.
so there's probably an element of like, this is probably healthy for me, but it's very like if you're buying enough of those to have one a day,
Yeah,
you're
it's
making like an investment in Poppi every month, right? So.
Yeah.
That's probably understanding your audience, although they're still probably doing pretty well. So,
Yeah, those are the types of things that when why didn't they send it to people who aren't influencers and who can't afford it. It's like it was marketing.
Yeah.
It was advertising. Like, stop it.
It's
You
not
know, I
charity,
feel like
it's PR.
that's when you hurt your credibility as a person who truly wants maybe what's good for the community as a whole, right? I mean, they're a company. In the end, they have to make sales. They have to promote. They have to do all these things. And guess what? If an influencer's holding the can while making a video, their sales are going to go up. Whereas if I'm holding the can making a video, their sales are going to go down.
I mean, you do have to be aware though of the noise, because there's a part where that shifts, right? There's a part where like there's enough people who are now going, I don't like them. That like just because like the idea might have made sense, or you might think like, okay, like that makes sense from an influencer perspective.
So like from a reputation
if enough of
standpoint.
your customers look at it's
I
the
could see
Bud
that.
Light thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's you're gonna alienate Kid
100%.
Kid Rock or whatever, and it's like for this audience you're trying to get,
You're right.
and so you just have to monitor the noise. We've done that with clients all the time. It's
Yeah.
like you can take a swing, and I don't even think they're taking really big swings there, but like you just have to kind of monitor. Is this actually working for us or not working for us?
I think that's fully right. I mean, I agree with what Rich said, because I'm also brand defensive, because that's what we manage. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what's fair. As a brand, you have to navigate the marketplace. And if you're going to do something that's going to get pushed back, whether it's fair or not doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's bad for Poppi sales. And you need to know how to act accordingly. So I do want to bring one thing up about the Allison lady and her working hard statement, because like I was saying, I'm super empathetic to both sides. I think it's a big misunderstanding of the premise of what's being said. The one side I'm not empathetic towards, where I fully agree with her, are business owners who talk a big game but don't work hard. Those people I absolutely cannot stand. It's like that group specifically, not business owners who are like, I know a lot of those who are like, hey, like my business is here. Yeah. Can we scale to here? We could. I don't want to. It's sustainable. I'm happy with what it is. It's either supplemental income or it's providing for my family. Our mother is one of those. Runs a law firm. Never had the aspirations of like, let's, take over the penthouse of this building. It was like Rich and I lived a very lovely life because of all of the hard work my mom did with her law firm, and that was what she wanted to do, and like good for her. But the ones who talk a big game and talk about where they want to get to and how big they want to get, and I want this and I want that and the other, and they have work-life balance and they are working 30, 40, 50-hour weeks. Those ones I have zero empathy for, and I think they deserve all of the patronizing comments that she made and others did as well.
I agree with you there.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting at the age that I'm at, because I think when you graduate, you're kind of expected to achieve all of your dreams now, while you're young and you have no commitments to anyone or like, things in your life. But I have multiple friends after graduating that are getting paid pretty well for their age and the career that they have right now, and are already talking about how exhausting it is and how much they are missing out on their social life, and that there is this expectation that they should be, this is the time that you should be moving up and you should be saving up all of this money so that you could enjoy it later, which absolutely makes sense, and it's the traditional model of how things go in your life. But they're like, I can't even meet people right now. I can't even plan for a social life or a future if all I'm doing is working right now, even though I have no other obligations, and this might be the perfect time. But it's interesting seeing that and seeing how kind of society has really pushed this grind culture on kids my age, and young adults, and how that kind of influences even like relationship building and
And I think it's a lie, and it's always been a lie, that you need to succeed quickly. That was similar when I was graduating high school and, in my early 20s, and looking back on it now, I just like, it's not that much of a rush, you
Yeah.
know, like
No.
you can take your time with it and
Yeah.
you can be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I think it comes down to what do you enjoy, what do you love, where are your priorities, and you don't have to look 10 years, 20 years into the future. It's like look a year, look 2 years into the future, and see where you want to be, right? And if it's like, oh, and you know, in 2 years or 5 years or whatever, I want to own a home, and I wanted this, and I wanted that. It's like, okay, well then now you have to take certain steps to be able to get to that maybe
Yeah.
financial position. But if 2 years from the future you're like, well, I'd like to visit this country, or like, you have to look at what you want, love, and what are your priorities, and then make decisions, you know, that will hopefully hit those short-term goals, right? But there are other people like, you know, who are like, yeah, no, I want to build a business and I want to get to X, Y, Z, and then it's like, yeah, then you know, it's hard to do that without hard work or
Yeah.
putting in sweat equity, time, etc.
Yeah.
But you know, the idea of valuing community and friends and going and grabbing a drink, I think those things are important. You know, those things are healthy for your mindset. They're healthy just for your life. It's building connections, like Adam was saying. You know, when you get to that age of 70, 80, 90, right, and you're surrounded by friends, family, community, maybe grandkids, etc., you feel a certain type of love that no dollar could ever buy. You know, so it's like, what's your value and where are you placing it? You know, and again, everyone's different, and no one should knock each other's goals and desires, and you
Right.
know, but yeah, I should not impose on you the idea of like, you know, work, hustle, 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 you know, etc. Because you're like, that may not meet my goals. You know, if it is, cool. You know, but if it isn't, it's like, no, don't impose what you want for me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I you know, my opinion, having going through that stage in life is, like, if I was talking to my son, I would say 22 to like 30, optimize towards figuring out what you want to do with your life, not money. And then 30 onwards, build a career. You know, because 22 to 30, you just don't know. You know, you may think you want to major in something in college, you may not go to college, and like, so those are the years where I would say just like find out what you like, find out what you want to do with your life, because you know, when you're in your 20s, it feels like 30 is this like big thing, and like I should have it all figured out by then, and it's really not. It's like it's sort of a starting point. So if you can get to 30 and you've really like figured out the path forward for you, I think that's a massive win, because you've got your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and 60s, you know, to be able to do that. But if you just burn yourself out in your 20s doing something that you don't love to do, you very well may end up starting over at 35, which is totally fine too.
Yeah.
But if you could craft it the way you want to, figure out first what you want to do, then do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's at the root of it is though there's a big income inequality issue that means that young people don't have the ability to do like. I mean, there's that hustle sort of grind culture has really been developed by a lot of like big businesses who want like employees to die for them so that they can get profits while
Yeah.
like these people can't pay for groceries. And so I think there's an element of like probably the reaction to that video, which again, I don't think was that bad. Like I watched that and was like, okay, yeah, she seems like pretty reasonable to me in the way that she's like wording that stuff, is probably young people sitting there going like, okay, I just keep hearing that I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
When it's like everything's getting more expensive.
Yeah.
Wages aren't going with it. And that becomes, you know, a problem. And so for a lot of, it's like if you're sort of 19 now or 20 and you're wanting to sort of figure out what I want to do, but you're on your own and you need to pay rent, you know, it's a tricky situation. But I agree with you. I do think, and to your point, it's like there really isn't a reason to try and like think, oh my God, I need to be grinding when you don't know what you want to do.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there sort of going like, oh, I'm doing all this work because I kind of want to make more money. But if it's like you're not really passionate about it, you're going to end up like making a little bit more money and then quitting or burning out really badly. I had a really good friend who, you know, worked a job that he didn't really like for 10 years, 8 years, and kept moving up because he worked really hard and he was smart enough, and like had a work ethic that he wasn't going to do a bad job, and then essentially pretty much was like, I cannot do this anymore. And is kind of like starting over now. And I think he worked hard enough that he got to that level, but I think he feels like that was a lot of time sort of wasted with only thinking about money or only thinking about like what I sort of needed to do. And now I go like, well, and now he thinks that was probably wasted time, where if he would have more taken it slower, that might have worked out, differently.
Yeah. But see, to your friend, I would say there's, along the road of working hard and climbing the ladder, there's no such thing as wasted skill. There are probably so many things he's learned on the way that will then apply to his next job, where it's like maybe wasted time from a career search standpoint, but from a skill base, from a human perspective of now you knowing what you like and don't like, there's so much value, I think, along that journey, right? I think a lot of times people just look at the destination as the goal, when they forget like everything that you learn along the way and experience ups and downs, I think is extremely valuable to whatever you do in the future, right? Whether it's continuing down the path or making a complete life shift into a whole different direction, you know? So again, like I don't have judgment towards anybody who has a different mindset than my own, and honestly, even other business owners, like who are like, oh, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z, and then aren't doing anything. Like, dude, that's you. It's like it has nothing to do with me. Like, maybe I don't want to hear it as much. Like, I don't want to entertain those conversations as much. But like, my goals are my goals, and we're gonna work hard towards hitting them, right? And I feel like, just do what you love. Try to find what you love and do it. And if you can't get paid, then you have to find a job where you can get paid while doing something that you love on the side, and hopefully it translates over, If it doesn't, I get it.
I'm laughing because you said no judgment, but I won't bring up names, but I could name a few people right now who you have a lot of judgment towards, who talk a big game but do not put the work in.
Well, see, I think that's the thing is like, if I'm held captive to a conversation where I'm like, I'm trying to just be respectful, I'm like, I know it's all BS. Yeah, there's judgment. Like, but
Rich pivoted quick on
no.
Oh my
but
God,
it's one of those
shit about
things where I'm like,
clients.
I don't want to have the conversation with you.
Yeah.
Because normally I try not to be in conversations,
Yeah.
right, like that. But I'm curious who it is now. Don't say it on camera.
I'll tell you later. All right, guys. Well, we're all very grateful to be educated. The Unks have been educated.
I feel like I know so much about Love Island now.
I
that
may actually watch an
I
episode.
can gamble on it.
We haven't been educated. We've been unctuated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have an Olipop and watch Love Island.
Yes.
And
I do actually
also
wanna
check
check out Love
emails at
Island
the
now.
same time.
Olipop,
that's a
Love
commitment.
Island.
Yeah, just watch a couple
YouTube.
episodes.
Yeah, I
see
think
what
I
you
will.
think.
All right. Well, this has been a good episode. We have learned a lot about Love Island, Olipop, YouTube
Well,
creators.
Poppi.
Poppi.
This is a
Yes.
pro Olipop
Yes.
office.
Correct. And this is just one of many future Educate the Unks episodes to be released, because the Unks need to be educated. We need to be educated.
That is true. I'm doing you guys justice right now.
Doing the Lord's work.
Doing the Lord's work. That's right.
Thank you, Gwen.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys for having me.
You're welcome.